Let's see now. We're live, huh? Okay. Dasa Vrindavanam Vande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Chanavatar Chaitanya Lila Vistar Karino Donityananda Parabja Karunadena Bhushito Vyakta Chano Burachincho Vavande Vyasarupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganai Saha Jayanti Patakas Ch.Ch Sarvesham Gurunartino. Jai Shri Gurudev. So we're continuing this morning with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Churdanji Maharaj was here the other evening, and he read the first few verses of chapter 18 of the Madhya Lila, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Sri Vrindavan. And we heard this very sweet pastime, Gopal Diti on the top of Govardhan Hill, who later moved and is now in, what is it called? He's now called Natadwar in Rajasthan. He's known as Srinathji, I think the deity is called now, and the town is called Natadwar, if I recall correctly, in Rajasthan. But at this time, this deity was still on Govardhan Hill, having been installed there by Madhavendra Puri. Originally, this deity was installed by Krishna's grandson, Raja. And then later, because this is during the time of Muslim rule, then sometimes the Hindus and their worship was under threat, was attacked by the Muslims. And so at some point that deity that had been installed by Krishna's grandson was hidden away for protection. And then later on, Madhavendra Puri had a dream in which this Gopal deity appeared to him, revealed his location, and requested to be set free, requested to be fed, to be bathed, and so on. So Madhavendra Puri rescued that Gopal deity, and with the help of the villagers, installed his worship in a very grand way on the top of Govardhan Hill. And then Mahaprabhu, this is some years later, Mahaprabhu, he's coming to visit Vrindavan. Naturally, he wants to see the Gopal deity. However, he does not want to put foot on Govardhan Hill. So this is his dilemma, because Govardhan Hill is a manifestation of Krishna. So how could one put one's Mahaprabhu, in the mood of a devotee, is considering, I cannot put my foot on Govardhan Hill, which is worshipable to me. So this is his dilemma. And then the Gopal deity, he creates a circumstance in which there's some fear, there's a scare that starts, that some Muslims are coming to attack the area. And so for that reason, the caretakers of that temple, they take Gopal temporarily down from Govardhan Hill. They hide him somewhere for some period of time, for 3 days. It sounds like for 3 days he was down from his temple. And so through this circumstance, then Mahaprabhu had the opportunity to have the darshan of Gopal. And then later, the same thing happened, a similar thing happened with Rupa and Sanatan. They wanted to see Gopal, they did not want to climb the hill, and so Gopal, he again arranged some circumstance by which he came down for a period of time, and they were able to see him. And this, I appreciate this Leela very much, because it's a demonstration of how the Lord can act in unexpected ways. And how we have to wait to receive the mercy of the Lord. We have to be confident of receiving the mercy of the Lord. Because with our limited, calculative way of viewing the environment, we can sometimes feel very discouraged, very hopeless, or think that, oh, we have to make some moves to ensure a particular result. When what we really need to do is simply take a step back and wait, wait to receive the Lord's mercy, wait to see which way the Lord's will move. The Lord, He has, what is that beautiful quote in Loving Search? His ways are miraculous and wonderful, something like that. At every moment, He can astonish us. We should never feel despondent. We should never feel hopeless. We should never feel outside the mercy of the Lord. The Lord's ways are miraculous and wonderful. And if He wants to grace us in a particular way, He can find a way to do that. He's not limited by any finite considerations of this world. He is free and He is independent. He can do whatever He wants. He can change whatever He wants. If He wants to assert Himself, then He can. So we should live in that type of spirit, live in confidence of receiving the Lord's mercy when He chooses to give it. So, as we were hearing the other day in our reading of Shri Guru and His grace, we're trying to live like the Ch.Ch birds, who are always waiting for that drop of rainwater from above. And they don't ever become impatient and say, screw this, I'm just going to take the water from the pond here. They never say that. They're always waiting. Virachaya mayi dandam dina bandhu dayamba gatiri hana bhavata kachid anyamam asti nipata tu shataputir nirbaram va navambas tadapi kila payoda stuyate chata kena. This is Srila Rupa Goswami's wonderful verse. That Ch.Ch bird is always looking high to the sky and glorifying the rain cloud. Even if that rain cloud does not give any water, even if that rain cloud floods that bird with storm, lightning, thunder, hail, still that bird always remains fixed in its position of appreciation and undeviating dedication for that rain cloud. So this type of faith, conviction, steadfastness in our dedication to Guru and Gauranga, this is necessary. Whether the mercy comes or it doesn't come, whether trouble comes, our position is fixed. We have nothing else to do. We have nowhere else to go. And this is also the expression of the last verse of the Shikshashtakam. It is expressing the zenith point of dedication. So yes, this is I find this Leela very encouraging. They could not go up to see Gopal. So what did they do? They did not try to come up with their own plan, find some way we're going to get up there. No, instead they waited, they accepted, oh, there's nothing we can do. And the Lord, He found His way. And this is another point, that we want to become so developed that The Lord himself wants to see us. We want that type of heart in Krishna consciousness, that the Lord himself is attracted to that. Gurudev, he mentioned a couple of times, search for Sri Krishna. This is the beginning stage. But in a higher stage, Krishna will come searching after us. This is a higher level of devotion. So we are, our attitude is we are searching for our seva. Where is our seva? And if we can fix ourselves deeply in that, then Krishna, he will come to see us. Okay. So there's a description here of the Gopal deity coming down and seeing Rup and Sanatan. And we'll pick up from there. Esa Mukhya Bhakta Loya Nija Sange Shri Gopal Darshan Koila Bahurange. It was with great jubilation that Rupa Goswami visited Lord Gopal, accompanied by all these devotees. Ekamas Rohi Gopal Gela Nija Stane Shri Rupa Gosai Aila Shri Vrindavane. After staying at Mathura for 1 month, the Gopal deity returned to his own place, and Shri Rupa Goswami returned to Vrindavan. Pashtave Kohilu Gopal Kriparakyan Tobe Mahaprabhu Gela Shri Kamyavan. In the course of this story, I have given a description of Lord Gopal's mercy. After seeing the Gopal deity, Mahaprabhu went to Sri Kamyavan, one of the principal forests of Vrindavan. Prabhurgamanditi purve jali kilo se mata Vrindavane tava de kilo. Mahaprabhu's touring Vrindavan has been previously described. In the same ecstatic way, he traveled all over Vrindavan. Tahalila stali deki gela Nandishwar, Nandishwar deki preme hoila vival. After visiting the places of Krishna's pastimes at Kamyavan, Mahaprabhu went to Nandishwar. While there, he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. And Nandishwar is the house of Maharaj Nanda, as we're told in the purport. Pavanadi sab kunde snan kodiya lokere puchilo parva dupade jaya. Mahaprabhu bathed in all the celebrated lakes, beginning with Lake Pavam. Thereafter he climbed a hill and spoke to the people. Kichu deva murti hoy parvata upade, lok kohe murti hoy gofar bitade. Mahaprabhu asked, are there any deities on top of this hill? The local people replied, there are deities on this hill, but they are located within a cave. Luidike mata pita pushta kalevar majeka shishu hoy tribanga sundar. There are a father and mother with well-built bodies, and between them is a very beautiful child who is curved in 3 places. Shuni Mahaprabhu Mane. Sounds familiar. Did you hear that? The local people saying there are these deities, 3 deities, a father and a mother, and in between a very beautiful child who is curved in 3 places.
Is there significance of the curved in 3 places?
Krishna is often described in that way, Tribanga. That he especially when he's playing his flute, he does so in this curved way. Yeah, Tribanga Sundar. Beautiful 3 curved form. So, sounds like Nanda, Jashoda, and Krishna. Shuni Mahaprabhu mane ananda paya, teen murti dekila se gopa ugadiya. Hearing this, Mahaprabhu became very happy. After excavating the cave, he saw the three deities. Brajendra Brajeshwadir Koilo Charan Vandam Prema Veshe Krishna Koilo Sarvanga Sparshan. Mahaprabhu offered his respects to Nanda Maharaj and Mother Jashoda, and with great ecstatic love he touched the body of Lord Krishna. Sabdin Prema Veshe Nitya Gita Koila Taha hoite Mahaprabhu Kadirva Nahaila. Every day the Lord chanted and danced in ecstatic love. Finally, he went to Kadiravan. This is another of the principal forests of Vrindavan. Lilastal deki taha gela shesha shai, Lakshmi deki eshlok boden gosai. After seeing the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes, Sri Chaitanya went to Ch.Ch, where he saw Lakshmi and recited the following verse. Gurudev liked this verse, very beautiful. Yate sujata charanam buruham staneshu pita shanai priya dadimahi karkasheshu tena tavim atasi tadvyatate na kimsvit gurpadi bir brahmati dir bhavan ayushamna. O dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. Spoken by the Brajagopi. Tobe kela tirta deki bandiravan haila jamuna par hoya badravana gela. Afterwards, Mahaprabhu saw Kela Tirtha and then went to Bandiravam. After crossing the Jamuna river, he went to Badravan. Shivandeki punagela lohavan, Mahavana gya koila janmastan darshan. Mahaprabhu then visited Shrivan and Lohavan. He then went to Mahavan and saw Gokul, the place of Lord Krishna's early childhood pastimes. Jamalarjun Bangadi Dekilo Sestal, Prema Veshe Prabhuman Hoilo Talamal. Upon seeing the place where the twin Arjuna trees had been broken by Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was moved to great ecstatic love. Gokul Deki Aila Mathurana Gade, Janmastan deki rohe sevi pragode. After seeing Gokul, Mahaprabhu returned to Mathura, where he saw the birthplace of the Lord. While there, he stayed at the house of the Shanodian Brahmin. Loker sangadeki Mathura chariya, ekante akrura tirte rohila asya. Seeing a great crowd assemble at Mathura, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and went to Akrura Tirtha. He remained there in a solitary place. Paradinaila Prabhu dekite Vrindavan, Kaliya Hardesnan Koila Ar Praskandan. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan and took his bath at Kaliya Lake and Praskandan. Twadashaditya hoite keshitirte haila, rasastali deki preme morchita hoila. After seeing the holy place called Praskandan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Dwadashaditya. From there he went to Keshi Tirtha, and when he saw the place where the rasa dance had taken place, he immediately lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. Chetan paya puna gada gadi jai, ase kande nache pode uchai swade gai. When the Lord regained his senses, he began to roll on the ground. He would sometimes laugh, cry, dance, and fall down. He would also chant very loudly. Eirange se din tata gohaila, sandhya kale aknode asi bika nirvahila. Being thus transcendently amused, Mahaprabhu passed that day happily at Keshi Tirtha. In the evening, he returned to Akrura Tirtha, where he took his meal. Prate Vrindavane koila chiragate snan, tentuli talate asi kodila vishnam. The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Vrindavan and took his bath at Chiragat. He then went to Tentuli Tala, where he took rest. Krishna lila kale se vika puratan, tatole pindi banda paramachikan. The tamarind tree named Tentuli Tala was very old, having been there since the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes. He then went... mixing these up. So he took rest at Tentuli Tala. The tamarind tree named Tentuli Tala was very old, having been there since the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Beneath the tree was a very shiny platform. I think this must be Imli Tala. Imli is another word for tamarind. And this is right around the corner from our temple. And it's a very special place because it's described as being the origin of Gaura Tattva. I believe it was after the incident when Krishna left the Rasa Leela, he sat under that tree. I can't remember. I think Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentions it in Premadama Deva Stocham, but I can't remember the details. But it's just like a 10-minute walk, or maybe even less, from our temple. And Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, one of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's godbrothers, established a temple there. And it was one of the Gurudev. Gurudev did Vrindavan Parikrama once, like the full Parikrama he did once with Srila Sridhar Maharaj in 1947. And after that, Gurudev, he would visit some of the places, but he didn't do the full Parikrama. And then there were 3 principal places Gurudev would visit, all within the close vicinity of our temple. And one is this Imli Tala. And I think Gurudev may have even stayed there with Srila Sridhar Maharaj at some point during that stay in 47. So Imli Tala was one of the principal places Gurudev would visit. Then of course Radha Damodar temple, which is another very important temple and right next to our temple. And then the third is the temple of Radha Raman, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's deity, which is also nearby. So this Imli Tala. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he also composed some verses which are there next to that tree now. And then they're describing in a very cryptic way Mahaprabhu's arrival to Vrindavan. And they were very much appreciated by Srila Sridhar Maharaj's godbrothers. I'm trying to remember the details around that, the significance of that tree, but I can't remember. It may be where Radharani sat and felt deep separation from Krishna, and Krishna observed that. something like that, but it is described as the origin of Gaur-tata. We can check later in Premadama Devastotra. Ikate Jamunavahe Shita Samir Vrindavan Shobadeke Jamuna Dhanir. Since the river Jamuna flowed near Tentulitala, a very cool breeze blew there. While there, the Lord saw the beauty of Vrindavan and the water of the river Jamuna. Tentul talevasi kode nam sankirtan, madhyan kode asi kode akrode bhojan. Mahaprabhu used to sit beneath the old tamarind tree and chant the holy name of the Lord. At noon, he would return to Akrura Tirtha to take lunch. Akode lokaise prabode dekite, lokabide swachande nade kirtan kodite. All the people who lived near Akrura Tirtha came to see Mahaprabhu, and due to the large crowds, the Lord could not peacefully chant the holy name. Vrindavane ase Prabhu bosiae kanta, nam sankirtan kode madhyan bhajanta. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu would go to Vrindavan and sit in a solitary, therefore, Mahaprabhu would go to Vrindavan and sit in a solitary place where he would chant the holy name until noon. Tritya pahade lok paidadashan sabade upadesh kode nam sankirtan. In the afternoon, people were able to speak to him. The Lord told everyone of the importance of chanting the holy name. Enokale aila Vaishnav Krishna Rasanam Rajaputta Jati Grihasta Jamuna Pade Gram. During this time, a Vaishnav named Krishna Das came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a householder belonging to the Kshatriya caste, and his house was located on the other side of the Jamuna. Keshisnan Kodise Kaliya Doha Jaite Amle Talai Gosaye Deke Achambite. After bathing at Keshi Tirtha, Krishnadas went toward Kaliya Daha and suddenly saw Mahaprabhu sitting at Amlitala, Tentulitala. So even then they would refer to it synonymously as, well, here Amlitala. Nowadays they say Imlitala. Prabodhu prema deki hoilo chamatkar, prema veshe prabode kode namaskar. Upon seeing the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love, Krishnadas was very much astonished. Out of ecstatic love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Prabhu kohe ke tumi kaha tomar gur, Krishnadas kohe mui grihasta pamar. Mahaprabhu asked Krishnadas, "Who are you? Where is your home?" Krishnadas replied, "I am a most fallen householder. Rajaput jati mui opade mor gur, mor icha hoi hon Vaishnav kinkar. I belong to the Rajaput caste, and my home is just on the other side of the river Jamuna. But I wish to be the servant of a Vaishnav. Kintu aji ek mui swapna dekinu, se swapna padatek toma si painu. Today I have had a dream, and according to that dream I have come here and found you. Prabhu tade kripa koila alingana kodi, preme mata hoilo se nache bole hari. Mahaprabhu then bestowed upon Krishnadas his causeless mercy by embracing him. Krishnadas became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance and to chant the holy name of Hari. Prabhu sange madhyanakrura tirte aila, Prabhu avashishta patra prasada paila. Krishnadas returned to Akrura Tirtha with the Lord, and remnants of the Lord's food were given to him. Prate Prabhu Sange Aila Jol Patra Loya Prabhu Sange Rohe Griha Shri Puja Chadiya. The next morning, Krishnadas went with Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan and carried his water pot. Krishnadas thus left his wife, home, and children in order to remain with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vrindavane Puna Krishna Prakata Hoilo Jaha Taha Lok Sab Kohite Lagilo. Everywhere the Lord went, all the people said, Krishna has again manifested at Vrindavan. Ekadin Akrodete Lokabrata Kale Vrindavana Hoite Aise Koriko Lahole. One morning many people came to Akrura Tirtha. As they came from Vrindavan, they made a tumultuous sound. Prabhu deki korilo lok charana vandan, Prabhu kohe kaha hoite korila gaman. Upon seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the people offered respects at his lotus feet. The Lord then asked them, "Where are you all coming from?" Loke kohe Krishna prakad, kaliya dohe jole, kaliya shire nitya kode, fanaratna jole. The people replied, Krishna has again manifested himself on the waters of the Kaliya lake. He dances on the hoods of the serpent Kaliya, and the jewels on those hoods are blazing. You're familiar with that Leela, right? The Kaliya serpent. It's a demon serpent who's poisoning the waters of Jamuna. And so Krishna comes to deal with this demon. And it's described how he comes to destroy him the most charming, wonderful way, dancing on his hoods, like pounding on his heads in this very charming way. And then eventually that serpent, he's very demonic, but he has wives. His wives are very devotional, and they pray to Krishna to save his life. And so Krishna agrees to spare him on the condition that he leaves and stops disturbing the residents of Vrindavan. So anyhow, the local people, they have some idea that they're seeing Krishna again on the Kaliya lake, dancing on the hoods of the serpent Kaliya. So let's see about this. Saksha dekilo log nahi ko samshoy shuni hasi kohe Prabhu sab satya hoy. The people are telling Mahaprabhu, everyone has seen Lord Krishna himself. There is no doubt about it. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. He then said, everything is correct. Hematatin ratri loker gaman sobeasi kohe Krishna pailu dadashan. For 3 successive nights, people went to Kaliya Daha to see Krishna. And everyone returned saying, now we have seen Krishna himself. Prabhu age kohe log Shri Krishna dekilo, Saraswati he vakye satya kohailo. Everyone came before Mahaprabhu and said, now we have directly seen Lord Krishna. So they're telling Mahaprabhu, we saw Krishna over there. Not so sure about that. Krishna's actually right in front of you. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what it's all about. Getting all tangled up here. So everyone came before Mahaprabhu and said, now we have directly seen Lord Krishna. Thus, by the mercy of the goddess of learning, they were made to speak the truth. Because they are seeing Krishna right in front of them. Saraswati. This is mentioned sometimes. Saraswati like act in tricky. Saraswati is the goddess of learning, and she's also known as the goddess of speech. So it's sometimes mentioned like she'll speak through people or act in some tricky way, you know. Like there was one, just one example with Srila Swami. What's that?
That's very interesting.
like there's just one example that comes to mind. There was one occasion, one of Srila Swami Maharaj's sannyasis, there was some preaching enterprise that he was running which was causing some friction in ISKCON. And so Srila Swami Maharaj had to ask him to stop. And it was, I think, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And he was a little upset about that. And he said, well, you may as well just send me to China. And then Srila Swami Maharaj said, Saraswati has spoken through you. And he sent him to China. Because China's like the worst place to preach, right? It's a communist country. You can't preach there. So he was speaking like kind of sarcastically. You know, amazed if I can't do this service, then I may as well just go to China. Like, what's the point? And so Swami Maharaj said, oh, Saraswati has spoken through you. That's a very good idea. You should go to China. So he sent him to China. He preached in China. So it's mentioned sometimes that Saraswati will act in this tricky way. So these people are telling Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, we've seen Krishna. And Saraswati's arranged that they're actually speaking the truth. They have seen Krishna right in front of them.
Mahaprabhu dekhi satya, Krishna darashan, nija gyane satya chariya satya satya brahm.
When the people saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they actually saw Krishna. But because they were following their own imperfect knowledge, they accepted the wrong thing as Krishna.
Patacharya Tobe kohe prabhu charane agya deho jai kodi Krishna darashane.
At that time, Balabhaja Bhattacharya, so he's the Brahmin who's accompanying Mahaprabhu as a servant, placed a request at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, please give me permission to go see Lord Krishna directly. So this is the most foolish thing that one could possibly do. To be directly engaged in the service of the Lord and to ask permission to go to follow some illusory representation of Krishna. We're coming to it. Now it's still a mystery. We're coming to it. It will be explained.
Tobe tare kohe prabhu chapad madhya, murker vakye murka hoila pandita hoya.
Mahaprabhu, he responded as follows. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully slapped him, saying, you are a learned scholar, but you have become a fool, being influenced by the statements of other fools.
Krishna kene darashan dibe kali kale, nija brahme morkalo kore kola hole.
Why would Krishna appear in the age of Kali? Foolish people who are mistaken are simply causing agitation and making a tumult.
Pato na hoi gore rahat bosiya, Krishna darashan kori ho kali rachiye jaya.
Do not become mad. Simply sit down here, and tomorrow night you will go see Krishna. Pratakale bhavyalok prabhu stane aila, Krishna deki aila prabhu tahare puchila. The next morning, some respectable gentlemen came to see Mahaprabhu, and the Lord asked them, "Have you seen Krishna?" Loko he rajye kai vaijyano kate chadiya, kaliyada he matsyamade duiti dvaliya. These respectable gentlemen replied, "At night in Kaliya lake, a fisherman lights a torch in his boat and catches many fish." Some lights are like moving around on his boat, and it looks like Krishna dancing on the heads of the Kaliya serpent, something like that. From a distance, people mistakenly think they are seeing Krishna dancing on the body of the Kaliya serpent. Nokate Kaliya Gyan Dipe Ratna Gyane Jaliyade Mudalo Krishna Kodimane. These fools think that the boat is the Kaliya serpent, and the torchlight the jewels on his hoods. People also mistake the fisherman for Krishna. Vrindavane Krishna ila se satya hoy, Krishna de dekhi lolo kiha mitya noy. Actually, Lord Krishna has returned to Vrindavan. That is the truth. And it is also true that people have seen him. Kintu kaha Krishna deke kaha Brahma mane stanu purushe jaiche vipadita gyane. But where they are seeing Krishna is their mistake. It is like considering a dry tree to be a person. Prabhu kohe kaha paila Krishna darashan, loka kohe sannyasi tumi jagam nadayam. Mahaprabhu then asked them, "Where have you seen Krishna directly?" The people replied, "You are a sannyasi, a renunciant. Therefore you are a moving Narayan." So this is an impersonal idea. I'll read this purport. This is the viewpoint of Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy supports the impersonalist view that Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no form. One can imagine impersonal Brahman in any form, as Vishnu, Shiva, Vivasvan, Ganesh, or Devi Durga. According to the Mayavad philosophy, when one becomes a sannyasi, he is to be considered a moving Narayan. Mayavad philosophy holds that the real Narayan does not move, because being impersonal, he has no legs. Thus, according to Mayavad philosophy, whoever becomes a sannyasi declares himself Narayan. Foolish people accept such ordinary human beings as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Vivartavad. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Jangam Narayan means that the impersonal Brahman takes a shape and moves here and there in the form of a Mayavadi sannyasi. The Mayavad philosophy confirms this. Danda grahan matrena naro narayano bhavet. Simply by accepting the danda of the order of sannyas, one is immediately transformed into Narayan. Therefore, Mayavadi sannyasis address one another by saying Om Namo Naranayana. I offer my respects to you, O Narayan. This is how they greet each other. There's one occasion when someone addresses Mahaprabhu like that. And Mahaprabhu replies, Krishna matir astu. Let your attention be on Krishna. Let your attention be on Krishna. Very nice. In this way, one Narayan worships another Narayan. Actually, an ordinary human being cannot become Narayan. As the chief Mayavadi sannyasi, Sri Shankaracharya says, Narayana paro vyaktat. Narayan is not a creation of this material world. Narayan is above the material creation. Due to their poor fund of knowledge, Mayavadi sannyasis think that Narayan, the absolute truth, takes birth as a human being, and that when he realizes this, he becomes Narayan again. They never consider why Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, would accept an inferior position as a human being and then again become Narayan when he is perfect. Why should Narayan be imperfect? Why should he appear as a human being? Mahaprabhu very nicely explains these points while at Vrindavan. Okay, well, I think this is a good place to stop. Then Mahaprabhu goes into an explanation as to why a common person of the world should not be referred to as Narayan, should not be considered to be Narayan. Of course, in the case of Mahaprabhu, they are actually correct. Yeah, it's very funny, isn't it? Yeah, we'll continue tomorrow. Jai Shri Chaitanya Chaitanya Ki Jai Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Do you want to sing?
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
Giri Hari Gopinata Madana Mohana
Giri Hari Gopinatha Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narottamada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Bhakti, Jai Shri Guru Rangadana.